Hey everyone, welcome to This Explainer. We're doing something a bit different today, and honestly, it's incredibly powerful. We're going to merge ancient spiritual wisdom with classical political strategy to basically uncover the ultimate secret to success. We'll be pulling from the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and pairing them with the brutal strategic pragmatism of Niccolo Machiavelli. So, are you ready to master your mind and your money? Let's dive right in. Just look around. You've probably noticed this brutal modern paradox we're all living in, right? Pretty much everyone you meet is just internally exhausted. People are constantly hustling, chasing money, getting tangled up in drama, or literally just lying awake at night battling their own thoughts. On the outside, sure, things might look totally normal, but inside, it's a daily war. We're all chasing peace and wealth, yet somehow we just keep ending up anxious and completely depleted. So to figure this out, we have to start on the inside. Ask yourself, and really be honest, are you actually running your mind, or is it running you? For so many of us, our own thoughts have become our absolute biggest strain of energy. It's like being dragged around by a captive, you know? But then there's the external struggle. Say you do actually manage to find some success or scrape together some money. Well, another trap opens right up. Is that wealth actually giving you freedom? Or is the way you handle it just creating, more expectations, more jealousy, and frankly, more enemies? We're going to solve both of these massive problems today, breaking down the ultimate blueprint step by step. Okay, Section 1, the mental pyramid. Let's take a look at Krishna's framework. To really grasp this internal battle, we're pulling from the ancient wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita. See, Krishna didn't just teach high-level philosophy, he laid out an absolute masterclass in mental victory. He showed that humanity is basically divided into this invisible mental hierarchy. At the bottom, making up like 90% of people, you have the reactive mind. These folks are completely hostage to their environment. Someone insults them, boom, instant anger. They get a compliment, instant ego trip. They're just blown around like dry leaves in the wind. Then you step up to the 9%. These are the overthinkers. They actually realize the problem isn't the world, it's their own mind. But they get stuck. And then, at the very peak, you have the 1%, the witness. The Gita actually puts it beautifully. It says, just as a strong wind sweeps away a boat on the water, a wandering mind carries away a person's intelligence. And man, does that hit the nail on the head for that 9%. Let's look at why they get stuck. They try to fix their lack of peace by overthinking it. A negative thought pops up and they literally fight it. They're in there having these intense imaginary debates with themselves. So they have the knowledge, sure, but zero peace because their mind is an absolute war zone. They're just exhausting themselves fighting their own mental storms. So, the goal is obvious. We've got to get out of that 90% reactivity, bypass the 9% overthinking trap, and aim straight for the 1%. This 1% mind practices something called Shakshi Bhav, which translates to the witness state. They've realized a massive truth. I am not my thoughts. So when fear pops up, they don't panic like the 90%, and they don't fight it like the 9%. They just observe it. They watch the thought arrive, they give it absolutely zero energy, and they just watch it naturally fade away. This is Krishna's ultimate lesson. A man can rise through his own mind and can also fall through it. The mind is the friend and the mind is the enemy. So think of it this way. Actually, imagine yourself as the vast open sky. Your thoughts are just clouds passing by. Some are dark, heavy storm clouds. Some are light and fluffy. But no cloud can actually damage the sky. Once you detach and just become the observer, you unlock this incredible internal power. You can finally take action without that crushing weight of anxiety. All right, Section 2, the bridge. Silence as a superpower. Okay, so if the 1% mind is totally silent, detached, and observant on the inside, how on earth does that translate to the loud, chaotic world we actually live in? Like, how do you build real external power when you've mastered internal silence? Enter Niccolo Machiavelli. The bridge between internal peace and external success is silence. Specifically, this concept of silent wealth. It's the highly strategic choice to build and hold your financial power completely invisibly. Moving to Section 3, the rules of silent wealth, Machiavellian strategy. Look, just like overthinking wrecks your internal peace, bragging wrecks your external security. It's night and day. Loud wealth is that really dangerous modern habit of flaunting everything you've got. Machiavelli completely understood that visible power basically just invites people to attack you. When you show off your wealth, you aren't just sharing a fun update. You're literally revealing your strategic position. People's expectations shoot up, jealousy starts brewing, and frankly, some people will just wait for you to fail. Silent wealth, on the other hand, uses invisibility as a weapon. When nobody knows what you have, they underestimate you, and that gives you the quiet time you need to prepare, fix your mistakes, and pull ahead with zero resistance. And honestly, nowhere is loud wealth more dangerous today than in what we like to call the digital circus. You know the one. Social media constantly tempts us to perform for attention. But think about the psychology for a second. When you post your lifestyle, you are giving away your daily habits, your schedule, and your financial capacity to the entire world. The truly wealthy, they don't play the clown in the digital circus. They aren't even sitting in the audience. They just stay completely out of it, observe quietly, and protect their privacy at all costs. Machiavelli's next rule is brutally pragmatic. If your wealth comes from just one single stream, your risk level is extreme, and your control is basically zero. You are totally dependent on that one source. The silent wealth strategy is to take that one stream and intentionally branch it out into multiple rivers. Diversification isn't even really about getting richer. It's about buying freedom from fear. Because when your survival isn't hanging by one single thread, you make much clearer, much bolder decisions. Let's rapid fire through the rest of this Machiavellian silent arsenal. First, money is like water. If it sits still, it rots, and you just become terrified of losing it. So keep it moving, keep investing. Second, build legal shields. The actually wealthy control systems, they don't always own things directly in their own name, which makes them way harder to attack. Third, quietly build rare skills. You don't need to announce what you're learning to the world. Just put your head down and become undeniably irreplaceable. And this final rule, it's probably the most critical of the whole bunch. You absolutely have to fiercely guard your inner circle. Your worst enemies aren't usually strangers. A lot of the time, they are the wrong friends. People who don't respect your strategic silence will leak your wealth. They do it through innocent gossip, insane expectations, or just constant peer pressure. You need to choose allies who value discretion just as much as you do. Finally, Section 4, protecting your true power. Let's bring it all together. So, we've explored the deep mechanics of the mind and the ruthless, pragmatic realities of the real world. Now it's time to integrate these frameworks, because true power is a dual path. From Krishna and the Gita, we get internal mastery, learning to detach from the relentless storm of our own thoughts so we can find unshakable peace. And from Machiavelli, we get external strategy, hiding our wealth and our moves to maintain absolute freedom and control. Internal silence brings peace, external silence brings power. I want to leave you with this one thought. We live in a society that literally rewards noise. Everyone is shouting to be seen, begging to be heard, desperate to be validated. But the absolute most powerful people, they are operating entirely out of view. So ask yourself today, in a world screaming for attention, are you brave enough to be silent? Think on that. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll see you all next time.